channel, RiverBender.com, Roku TV, anywhere, everywhere you get your podcast. We don't have news today because we have such a busy show, and we are starting it off with friend of the show, Mayor of South Roxana, TJ Callahan. How are we doing, sir?
How you doing, CJ?
Fighting off the post-flurry weekend that we just went through, and then that weird influx of weather. It's like it's 70, and then it's 40, and then my sinuses are inflamed. But that's okay. Great conversation awaits today.
Works out great, and it messes up my fishing.
So how's everything going in South Roxana, TJ?
It is doing great. CJ, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for getting me on the show. Before we even want to get started, I want to do a public announcement for if I created any animosity or if I need to apologize to anybody. I'm going to be the first one to say that I'm sorry for anything that I may have did or offended or, upset anybody.
Absolutely. And well, TJ, I guess the biggest question is let's talk about what that apology's for, because, a couple of weeks ago, we were sent an email that was pretty, in my opinion, I'll just say it was slanderous. And it had a lot of accusations in there about a potential, altercation that occurred at a meeting that wasn't sponsored by the city, correct?
The
village.
That is correct.
And can you take me through some of these things? Because, TJ, man, I've known you for quite a long time. And when I first read the email, I went, it doesn't add up. And then we were sent a video that, again, didn't really tie in any of the email that we were sent to what actually occurred. And so I just wanted to bring you on, TJ, and really talk about this, because small town communities like South Roxana, this could really debilitate the growth. And I figured, let's talk about this, let's get it out there, and let's see what what the next horizon is.
Well, and you're exactly right. It's unfortunate that we have to deal with this. We are actually already had a meeting. If you remember when you first interviewed me, it was like, oh my gosh, you're the mayor.
Right.
And get with me and tell me how things are going. And it's a challenge. It's so frustrating, me only being here, 5-6 months, how you can have 3 or 4 people try to really define your character that you're not even close of who you are. And, going again, you seen what was wrote about me.
Right.
Then I heard you got a video.
Yeah.
Did either one of them match up?
No, they didn't. And the reason being is, TJ, I'm one of the harshest critics of anybody, because I feel like, and I've always said this, if you're my friend, I'm going to hold you accountable. If
Absolutely.
I know you, I'm going to hold you accountable. And when I saw the headline and the first sentence in this, and I have it right here, the actions by our mayor on Sunday evening are not acceptable. I'm aware that he and others of you were gathered around 6 p.m. and they said that you stormed into the doors, letting the door slam, threw 2 business cards down, and sat down as everyone as a show of power, claiming that the individual that wrote this letter doesn't run the village.
No, and is not even on the board, right?
Yeah.
And going back to the video of what you see, I didn't barge in. You got to see firsthand.
Right.
I set my business cards down because I also explained to this individual, hey, I'll bring cards so people can come to talk to me. So it's just really, it saddens me.
Yeah.
I take ownership as being the mayor. Mm-hmm. Again, like I said, I want to apologize. But wanting to be a part of something and being asked to be a part of something, and then you go on this rampage that you've got video, and you even yourself, you're like, this ain't even correct. It's tough, right?
Right.
But with any small town, one of my visions and goal is, how do I keep making things better?
Right.
I can't focus on the negative. I can't focus when other places want to put this slander. I mean, it's slandering.
Yeah.
And misinformation out on me. So one of my biggest focuses is to create a positive atmosphere, address this situation, and know going forward that after today, I'm not going to even feed into all this negativity and drama. It's not right.
Well, absolutely. And then, I mean, another, thing that I didn't understand is the fact that, one of the most respected men in Madison County is Bob Coles.
Yes.
And I'll say that 100 times over. And whenever I was starting to read through this email and you see, these characterizations of your character and Mr. Cole's character, my initial thought was, this has got to be the first time anyone's ever heard of these accusations. And it amazes me that even a publication decided to run it without, really vetting the source. And I think that's what's important. And TJ, I'm going to ask you, because I envisioned this, reading this email, I saw it before the video came in. And I thought this was a jam-packed room of people that were ready to say goodbye TJ because everyone's ready for a new change. And, all of a sudden, here comes the marshal and the door opens up and then it's the mayor. Take me through what happened, because in the video, it's a short little, kind of a hidden camera. I can only see a couple of portions of it, but what I saw were a couple of, I don't know if they were Girl Scouts or kids running around, and then maybe 3 people sitting at a table.
Yeah, there was actually, if I had to, going back, I think there may have been 8. And there were kids, and just kind of going on that, they said kids were crying
Right.
and all this stuff. Did you hear any of that on the video?
No.
You know what I mean? And then after I leave, they want to call the cops. And that's one of the things that I will drive when we talk about Bob Coles and the vision. Bob has spent 30 years in this town making it. He's running for Madison County Board,
Right.
To try to make change and really start trying to put South Roxana on the map. So again, as part about being leadership and knowing that role, it's nice that he also had my back, and other people in the community that are seeing this, as well as you and other people going, this is far from who he is.
I do want to say something real quick, and that's because there was a comment that was made about, us not covering this story. Mm-hmm. There's a simple reason, and I really want to make this clear. If there was evidence, it doesn't matter who it is, and I'm someone who's by the book and always have been. That's why I don't have very many friends left anymore. We will run it. But again, there was no substantive information. Everything that was trying to be kind of shown wasn't shown in the video that showed evidence, and that's why we didn't run it. It has nothing to do with who I know or what goes on here. I have zero say in news in this company.
No,
zero.
100%. And one of the things that I will tell you up front, CJ, that I can appreciate so much of you and your character, and this is where we're so together, is if it's BS, we're going to call BS.
Right.
If you're lying, we're going to call it what it is. You have a job to do, and for somebody to justify your character and say, well, you're not running it because they have connections to do whatever, that's so wrong. Right. That's so wrong. So it's a constant battle, right?
Well, and what I think is even the bigger issue here, TJ, is that, a lot of people don't realize the growth that South Roxana's had in the last couple of months. I mean, you're debt-free. You have the village has no debt.
None.
And what amazes me is that instead of let's keep progressing, we had the Senior Citizen Center groundbreaking and all these really cool things, this infighting gets you nowhere, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that? And what is your kind of direction on how you go forward when you have, in my opinion, a clique that is really starting to cause some major issues?
Yeah, so we have one rogue board member. This board member has created this with their little entourage, that you will say. And I'm going to say this, and this is why we're addressing it. One part about being a leader and having leadership is making sure that you can reach your goals within your board. I have the best board members you can imagine. I can. From Margaret to Tara to Tammy and Greg Adams, Anna, to Terry Chester, who just got on. We have got a great team. Unfortunately, we have one rogue board member who's part of this whole deal that wants to be mayor, that has to make so many challenges within our community that doesn't need to be.
Right. And another thing I wanted to ask you about, TJ, was this Facebook group, because it seemed like, and there was a statement, I don't know who made it, but it almost was like an impersonator, of the village. And I want your thoughts on this, because that's a serious situation.
It is. The rogue board member that I'm talking about did make a fake Facebook account, and that's funny that and you've seen it, as well as everybody else. That board member admitted to it, so for that I'll give credit. But the whole time that you were doing this, you downgraded me on my education. You downgraded me for having my PhD. You downgraded me. But you know what? Let's take me out of it.
Right.
When you downgrade the board and the board members that you're supposed to be representing, that the people voted for you, that's where I have an issue. Mm-hmm. That's where you step in as a leader and say, okay, enough is enough.
Right.
I'm not going to have this going on when we have so many great things in our community that can change and make a difference. I'm glad that you took ownership. I'm glad that you said, hey, I did this, but why?
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Why do you want to completely downgrade the people that are trying to make a difference? That's what's tough, right? Right.
Well, and I got to ask you this too, because the fallout that can happen from something like this email, it's great. And it expands more than these Riverbender boundaries, and expands more than the township or the village. It expands more than the county. It goes over into St. Louis media. And I got to ask you, if folks reached out and you had to explain yourself on that too?
I did, yeah. So we had Channel 2, Channel 4 calling me, and just like yourself.
Yeah.
Show me the facts. Right?
Right.
And then when you get the facts, you're just like yourself. Hey, wait a minute. Don't add up.
Right.
Right? And so, but one of the, oh, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Keep going.
One of the things that I want to touch on, and we talk about social media, is this, CJ. Social media can be really great, and it can be really bad.
100%.
Think about this for 1 minute. We all just watched the Super Bowl. How many eyes were on the Super Bowl?
Tens of millions.
Tens of millions,
yeah.
Right? We're going through the Super Bowl, having a great time. Social media comes right in because Travis Kelce is just irate because he got taken out of the game for whatever reason, right? Mm-hmm. But what does he do? He comes over and he bumps Coach Reed, right? Like hits him. And instead of just letting that ride, they automatically hone in on the negative. They automatically hone in on, he touched him, he should be this. And all you see is on social media, on Facebook, and all these other things of how bad this guy is, and he should have never done this to the coach, and I can't believe he did this. Have you ever played in the Super Bowl?
No, I have not.
I know I've never played the Super Bowl.
That's a good point.
And what the point I'm getting at is, once Coach Reed got on this microphone and said, hey, listen, he was wanting to be in the game because he wanted to make a play. It had nothing to do, we're good. He bumped me, I was off balance. He addressed that situation.
Right.
Do you hear any more about it?
No. And that's the thing, because you're right. It wasn't about any of the things that Mahomes did in the game. It wasn't about any of the things the 49ers did. All it was that picture of Travis Kelce berating him.
And that's exactly it.
Right.
And that's where I'm so thankful for today. After today, I'm not addressing any more negativity. I had to go on and talk about this. I'm talking about our vision, our positive energy, what we have our focus on in the city of South Roxana. Amy Ellick, Erica Harris came down. I just got a $50,000 grant to put forward through. So, I've got so many great ideas, and the board is backing me. Fantastic people.
Yeah.
Fantastic people. And that is why I'm here. I want to show what we can accomplish in South Roxana. Bob Coles has gave his heart out.
Right.
I tear up because, this guy cares so much, and he's just like me, so compassionate. And then you have these 4 or 5 people that just want to come in and like I told Bob, I said, stay positive and let's drive this. You think about this going back when Terry Beasley was mayor, to Barb, right? Just going back to my era of where I remember.
Okay.
Maggie and Tara's been on this board forever, just trying to get this going. And here I come in 5 months in, and I'm like, we're so close. Was I a part of this the whole time? Absolutely not.
No.
Them board members are what deserves the credit. The board members are what has the power, not the mayor. You know what I mean? I'm really, essentially, I'm just to be the peacekeeper, right? Like, they make all the decisions. But what I love about them so much is because I feel like the South Roxana is the football team that's always made it to the playoffs.
Right.
But we've never won the Super Bowl. Now, I come in as the new coach, and when this community center comes up for our town, that is winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That is huge, right? And that is the vision, and that's kudos to every board member that's been on there, every mayor that's been on there, Barb, everybody. Everybody has had their hands in this pile, in this cookie jar. So I'm not going to say, hey, look at me, I take all the credit. Absolutely not. You're only as good as your team.
You're right.
And I have a great team.
And you're 100% right, TJ, and I want to talk about that here in a couple of seconds, but I just want to clarify one more thing, and that's the only question I had. So this was a citizens meeting. Were you invited to this meeting?
So the citizens didn't want me invited to the meeting,
okay,
but I was told where the meeting was at as a, hey, I'll be here if you want to come.
Okay.
So
it was.
Yes.
I get what you're saying with that.
Yes.
Okay.
But I will tell you this: the citizens that wasn't there, that told me about being there, the person that I interviewed with on Thursday also told me where it was there. I had numerous people tell me where this is at, the time, everything. Now, I had one person say, well, I'm not saying I wouldn't want you here, but I know the people there don't want you there. Wait a minute. I'm the mayor. I'm able to answer all the questions.
Right.
I'm able to be a part. I want to show you that I am available for everybody.
Right.
Then I come in and then this happens.
And that's a little bit fishy, and with that being said, was there any positive that came out of that meeting? Because that is a question to ask. Was there some sort of silver lining whenever you're getting done with that meeting?
You heard the video. Yeah. How many times did I apologize?
Yeah.
Because I felt like I got slammed, right?
Yep.
So numerous times did I say, you heard it.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I left. So I can't tell you.
Okay.
What I will tell you is I will never focus on those individuals to hear third party. Every person that was at that meeting can come talk to me directly, and I will be able to answer the calls. It's no different than if I come to you and I say, man, CJ, I have all these problems and this and that and that and this, and then you take them to your boss. It's only for too long your boss is going to say, CJ, I don't want to hear what TJ has to say.
Right.
If TJ has an issue, he can come talk to me directly.
Right.
That's where we're at.
100%.
And I am the most, you've known me forever.
Yeah.
My door is completely open.
Well, and even if people disagree with you, I've noticed you have no issue talking to anybody. And I'm not saying that to patronize you because you're here. It really appalled me as somebody that worked with one of the best journalists ever in St. Louis that started the Riverfront Times. And I know how much work goes into gathering information. And it was just appalling. And I'll say that. The whole thing was appalling. And, I'm so glad you came on to clarify some of this, and I thank you for trusting me with telling this story, because this is a delicate situation that you never know could blow up if the if it's at a different interview or if it's said. And I really thank you for that. It's a lot of trust in that with the media.
I want to thank you personally as well. The biggest key from this, CJ, is if I was in the wrong and we were sitting right here, you would call me out.
I would. 100%.
I would never have a problem with that.
Right.
And that is what is so gratifying with me and what you do and why you're so successful. And because your vision and what you're doing and driving this, seeing it and really take on. If I made a mistake, as soon as I pulled in there, you'd be like, dude, you're going to take ownership.
We're going to talk about it today.
We're going to talk about it, right? But one of the greatest things that I can honestly say is God let you see both sides.
Yep,
100%. God has got me in this position no matter what it is, and I'm gonna lead it to the fullest and trust in his vision each and every day till I figure out where my next steps are supposed to be.
Well, and with that being said, let's look towards greener pastures, because I'm pretty sure at this point, case closed on this. Let's
Yes.
move on and look and have it in the rearview mirror. What are some of the things coming down the pipeline in Roxana? Do you want to fill us in on some of the growth that you've had in South Roxana?
Yeah, so you've been seeing, so one of the great things I told Bob on to stay positive when I want to drive is I want to get local businesses.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Tyler Pitchford, I play drums at church at Metro, right? So we go to the same church. I want to look at how do we make a difference? How can I make a positive impact? Because social media is always negative, right?
Right.
So how do I show that positive impact going forward and hopefully drive other cities, right? One of the things was with Wyatt Owens.
Oh, yeah.
He has cancer.
Yeah.
Billy and I were firefighters together a long time ago. If anybody wants to donate to Wyatt's cause, please do that. And what's so weird is my buddy Matt Heath, who also runs Dog Nation over in St. Louis.
Okay.
They're doing a whole big hockey event for him. So it's weird how God puts so many different people, And then you think about, like, we played with Flip the Frog with
Right.
Cam Jansen down here,
Right.
Cam, Reed Lowe, all the guys that were down there partying with us are a big part with Wyatt.
That's
You know what I mean?
wonderful.
So it's weird how that takes place. But going out, reaching out, we just had Owen, another kid from Roxana. This is probably one of the smartest kids.
Oh,
I've
okay.
ever-
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I mean, it was amazing what this guy's doing with 3D printer, right? I just meet this kid, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I know your stepdaughter Emily, and I know Emily's boyfriend Donovan, And I'm like, the kid is just so in tune with what he wants to do in life. One of the most amazing kids. He made Bob this 3D thing, and it says Chief Coles, but. And you know what?
But I gotta find it here while you're talking. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, you ought to see that.
We'll throw this on the screen here.
You should. This kid is phenomenal at what he's doing. And when you turn it, it does one or the other, right? And I'm like, man, this is amazing, like, what this kid does. Like, he is just phenomenal at what he does with these 3D prints. It is simply amazing.
I gotta find this because we have time here. I just want to pull this up real quick because you're right. This was pretty incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Here we go,
Yeah.
right here. So let's go. We'll do a little bit of a screen share here.
Okay.
Let's see. On the scene. There you go. Look at that. I got to
Yeah.
zoom in a little bit.
Now when you turn it, see it says Chief?
Uh-huh.
Now when you turn it, it'll say Coles. And I mean, dude, when he gives me this thing, and this is what I talk about with Bob, right?
Uh-huh.
Bob does so much for our community. This is where it really takes place with him, and why I think he'd be so great with Madison County and doing stuff. The guy's on numerous boards, school boards, I mean, all these different boards, don't get paid.
Right.
Just wants to enhance and try to make things better. He was actually taking that to the school board meeting, because it's like when you see him and this kid gets him this, it's like, wow. In Bob's office, when, we have issues going on with kids and stuff in different towns, just to see how he interacts with children and tries to drive that negative energy to positive. And sometimes it's hard, right? In our position. And that's why we started doing this, because it's like, hey, we can only control what's in our control, right?
Right.
That's all we can do. So let's take all this and start helping others and build them. That kid was so excited when he's like, I can't believe you're sharing this, and I'm like, buddy, you're gonna be something.
Yeah,
you know
no
what I mean?
kidding.
And just a super, super genuine kid. We're getting ready to get started with our Easter program.
Yep.
So the Easter program is coming up. I think it's March 24th, I think, that we're having an Easter egg hunt at South Roxana Village Hall. And then our biggest thing is I have that pavilion coming up at the park, and then in March we will be getting bids on getting the getting the senior citizen center built.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and the first thing I told Bob too is I said I can't wait because Terry Chester and I, Terry, he's played in numerous bands the same as me, and I said, dude, we're gonna do a huge DJ. Like I'm gonna have every kid in there. We're gonna have food, just to be able to come in, and I just want to be able to really open up because we don't have like Alton. Alton has the YMCA. Alton, right. We don't have that.
Right.
My buddy Ryan does so much with the kids too with the complex. It's South Roxana complex. It's a small gym that works out in there. He does so much with helping kids with batting and baseball and working out. And then he does like this fitness on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So Ryan is doing so much with that. So there is just so many great things that I love about our town, and that's really what I want to drive.
Well, and then one final thing for you that I love, you're debt free.
We are.
I mean, so you're actually, there is no debt.
We have none. All our squad cars are paid. I mean, we have no debt. That's the thing is. And then and one of the things I'm doing is so after, because I'm running for mayor. Mm-hmm. If I do, I got these 2 buildings up. My next thing is how do I bring revenue into town, right? Yeah. How do there's infrastructure in certain places that I'm already looking into, working with the Madison County Transit, trying to get bike trail stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of areas of opportunity that I'm really driving, but what I don't want to do is try to do a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit, because you don't get anything done.
No, and it just sits empty.
It does, right? So I've been meeting with SJ. I'm trying to really get a vision and just trying to do little increments at a time. And then once we get those up, one of my biggest things I'm working when I talked with Amy and Erica, how do I start building infrastructure? How do I start helping with the roads? What can I do to really start helping and trying to grow our community?
Well, and that's what I think is really exciting about this. And this is just an outsider's perspective. Get over it. It's really just from my perspective. South Roxana is really on the precipice of something really great because you guys are really good. And this is just it's like you said, years of work and everything. But you're at this point where you're going to go from small town that's kind of catching up to excelling, and you're going to become a spot because you have all these pieces of infrastructure like that senior center, huge, and you have all these different pieces you're working on. Bike trails are a huge thing. Yeah, and all of those things are going to come in, and all of a sudden, South Roxana is going to be an up and coming Godfrey when it started out. Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind.
Well, and what was so neat too, so it's funny you brought that up. The lady, she stopped me. I had to drive the front loader.
Oh, okay.
And because we had a water leak, so I was helping the guys, and a lady stopped me and she goes, "Are you the mayor?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, I seen you out here working the last 2 hours on this front loader. I was just going to stop and see what you would charge me. I didn't know if you were a contractor to help me go over here and move this log." And I said, "Not charging anything, man." So I finish up and we get done. And then the neighbor lady, she comes in, she goes, "You're the same guy that was, you and the police chief was out here cutting trees at 10:30 at night." And so, and that's what's great is because I want to be able to get out and show our community of what we're doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Being able to take that vision and let it grow. We talk about leadership, right?
Right.
First thing you said, "Man, you had that empty seat. God bless Dwight Duke." What? How did you get Terry? What went on? Right. What did I tell you? I interviewed everybody the same questions. I let the board decide.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could have put anybody I wanted in that seat, but I'm only as good as my people. Mm-hmm. So when I fill out all the questions and I did all the interviews myself, you all decide, you pick. And I think a lot of them were like, "What?" Because why wouldn't I want somebody who's completely on my side to say that? Terry is a lot like you. He's going to call it out. If I do something wrong, he would call me out. I need that. I need that strong backbone to be able to enhance our board. And it is, man. Well, it's a community to, like you said, keep growing and being bigger and bigger.
Well, and just on your point really briefly, a team, no good team's made up of friends. A good team develops friendships, but you can't have friends a part of your team a lot of the time, and that's for anybody. I mean, you watch any baseball team play when their best friend joins the team and they're all slugging 230. It happens. But just like this, it's no different. You have to have a good leadership, and you have to have it from all aspects and all walks of life, and really, I think it's there.
Yeah, it is. We have developed an awesome board, and I love the vision of our growth. Bob and his police officers, do a fantastic job. Robin Doyle does so much with water, and her friend with Julie. It's crazy how much we get done with so many little people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they work so hard, and then Bob will have his master's. I just got my PhD. Robin, I think she has her bachelor's. You have 3 people that just have a little bit of education that can just drive and make something so successful.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
It is fantastic.
Well, and TJ, I've talked to you for almost 30 minutes now. And is there anything, because I like you said, I think case is closed. Let's look to greener pastures. Is there anything else you want to hit on before I let you go?
Nope. I just want to thank you and the Riverbender, most importantly, for having the time spent with me. And just know that going forward, even if you see anything, I'm focusing on nothing but positive.
Yeah.
I want to be able to enhance South Roxana. I want to be able to create a vision for South Roxana, and I want to be able to create growth in South Roxana and really drive and put us where we need to be.
Right, absolutely. And TJ, like I said, thank you so much for your time and your trust in us to do this interview in an appropriate way, because I know that's always a little challenging whenever you're on the other side of the microphone. But seriously, the best of luck. I know that South Roxana is on to greener pastures, and anytime you want to fill us in on them, you're more than welcome to.
All right. Well, thank you.
No problem. We'll take a quick pause here on this Monday morning. Our daily show will continue after a few right here on RiverBender.com.